welcome to the deep dive. Today we are really zeroing in on something vital, maybe the most crucial piece for hitting any goal. Confidence. We've all been there, haven't we? That moment of self-doubt, that little voice, or maybe a loud one that makes you hesitate just when you need to act.
Definitely.
So our mission today is to pull apart some thinking that treats confidence not as some kind of magic gift, but as a practical skill, something you can actually learn and build.
Exactly. It's high time we ditch that myth,
Yeah.
that confidence is just something you either have or you don't.
Right.
Our research really backs this up. Nobody, absolutely nobody, starts out life feeling totally self-assured all the time. It's a capacity you learn, you hone it.
Like learning an instrument or a language?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And the sources we looked at, they define it quite simply, just believing in yourself.
I like that definition. And they also frame it as, let me get this right, that quiet voice inside you that says, I can do this.
That's the one.
And I appreciate the quiet part. It's not necessarily some big, loud announcement to the world, more like an internal certainty based on something real.
That internal certainty, that conviction, that's really the core of what we're diving into today.
Okay.
Because, you see, the moment we accept that feeling unsure or even scared, it just means, well, you're human.
Yeah.
Then we can stop trying to fix something we think is broken about us.
Right, stop beating ourselves up.
Exactly. And start focusing on practicing a skill instead. Shifting the goalposts, away from instant perfection towards gradual growth, little by little.
Okay, so let's unpack that. How do we actually start building that evidence?
Yeah.
If confidence needs proof, where do we find it? The first step seems a bit counterintuitive, actually. Don't wait for the huge moments.
That's step one. Start small.
Yeah.
And this is, well, it's fundamental for building what psychologists call self-efficacy.
Which is confidence about doing specific things, right?
Precisely. Confidence in your ability to actually do something. And you build that not by dreaming big necessarily, but through small, manageable wins. Every day.
So we're talking about things the sources called micro-bravery, tiny acts.
Tiny acts, exactly.
They gave examples, didn't they? Like talking to a new person or finally finishing a task you've been avoiding.
Or even just speaking up in class or in a meeting when you usually stay quiet.
Things that seem almost insignificant on their own.
Right. But they add up. They're powerful and they accumulate. And the why behind this links straight to behavioral science.
Oh, so?
Well, every single time you manage one of these small tasks, you're generating a little proof, just a tiny bit.
Okay.
You're essentially creating a positive feedback loop in your brain. It starts to overwrite those old stories about failure you might have. You're literally teaching your brain to expect success bit by bit.
But what about, sometimes you do the small thing, finish the annoying chore, say, but then your brain immediately goes, well, that was easy, doesn't count. How do the sources handle that kind of discounting?
That's a really good question. And yes, it's addressed. The focus isn't so much on the size of the win, but on the consistency, the habit itself.
Okay.
So the point isn't that finishing that one chore is some massive life achievement. Of course not.
Right.
The point is the consistency of showing up and doing the thing, however small. The sources suggest that doing this daily builds momentum. It creates a habit loop.
So eventually, bigger goals don't seem so daunting.
Exactly. Because your brain's already banked hundreds of these tiny proofs that say, hey, you show up, you get things done, you're reliable.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like we're stockpiling these little victories. Okay. So if the outside world is where we gather the proof, then the internal world, our mind, that's where the main battle happens, right? Processing that proof.
Absolutely. Which brings us neatly to step two, managing that inner dialogue.
Is self-talk.
Yes. And this is where things like a growth mindset come in. It's absolutely crucial. The sources we looked at were really emphatic about this.
How so?
Your thoughts. They're basically the engine. They either solidify your confidence or they just tear it down.
Yeah.
If you're constantly running that internal track, I'm clumsy, I'm not smart enough, I can't do this.
Yeah, we all know that voice.
Then your brain just accepts it, treats it like a fact. Doesn't matter how much proof you gathered in step one.
It's that awful feedback loop. You send an email with a typo, maybe to your boss, and instantly the internal voice is screaming, you idiot.
Right, we've all been there.
So what's the active replacement? What specific language do the sources suggest for that moment?
They insist on shifting the focus away from who you are towards what you're doing. Effort, not identity.
Okay.
So you actively stop the I'm a failure thought. You catch it and you replace it. You change the words to something like, I'm learning, or, okay, I'm getting better at this.
That's the growth mindset versus fixed mindset thing, isn't it? I am this way versus I can improve.
Exactly that distinction. Confidence really grows almost exponentially sometimes when you learn to talk to yourself more constructively. Like you talk to a friend you were trying to help, not like an enemy. Giving guidance, not just blame.
Good. Treating yourself like a friend. And if we shift our self-talk towards learning, well, that leads straight into step 3, doesn't it? How we deal with failure. Because if you're trying new things, small or big,
You will make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the defining thing about really confident people, according to this material, it's not that they never mess up. Oh, far from it.
So what is it then?
The difference is they don't let mistakes stop them. That's the key. They treat mistakes not as like terminal judgments on their character,
Right.
but more like data. Simple inputs. Okay, that didn't work. Noted. They learn from it. They adjust their approach. And crucially, they try again. Yeah, often quite quickly.
That reframe is, well, it's really powerful, isn't it? Because the usual reaction when something goes wrong is often just to shut down, feel ashamed. But this confident reframe, it requires you to actively stop that thought, I failed.
Stop it dead and replace it with the proactive thought, okay, what did I learn here? Or even just, I learned something new.
So it turns a negative into an asset, almost.
Exactly. You're constantly tweaking your system, optimizing based on feedback. Your confidence isn't built on never making mistakes. That's impossible. It's built on the belief, the evidence that you can handle mistakes, that you can process them and use them to do better next time.
Okay, this is good stuff. Now, this leads us into a really interesting area. How we can influence our confidence, not just from the inside, like with self-talk, but also from the outside in.
The physical side.
Yeah, we've covered the mental game. Let's look at the physical part. Step 4 talks about this physiological feedback loop. Body language matters.
Yes, and this step gives you something you can use immediately. It's a very potent tool. Confidence, deep down, is a state, neurological, chemical. And when we consciously adopt certain physical postures, we actually send signals back to our own brain. Powerful, nonverbal signals that can kind of override feelings of stress or anxiety.
So what are the specific actions? The sources mention things like standing straight, making eye contact, and even smiling.
Those are the key ones.
Oh, no.
And the science does back this up. There are studies showing that when you adopt these more open, sort of expansive postures, it can literally affect the levels of stress hormones like cortisol and alertness hormones like testosterone in your system.
Wow, wait.
Yeah. You're essentially sending a message to the more primal parts of your brain, the limbic system. A message that says, it's okay. I'm safe here. I'm ready. I'm capable. You're kind of manually dialing down your own stress response, even if you don't feel confident yet.
That's a great actionable tip. You listening can try this right now. If you're sitting down, just sit up a bit taller, roll your shoulders back, maybe plant your feet on the floor, take a slower breath. The source says you can often feel the difference almost instantly. It's like confidence, starting with the body, correcting your posture, before your mind even has a chance to spin up those negative thoughts.
It really is the ultimate quick fix, isn't it, when doubt starts creeping in?
Yeah.
Fix the posture, reset the chemistry.
Okay.
Now, of course, we need to ground all this in a bit of reality.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the final step, step 5. Keep going.
Yes, the reality check. Because building any skill, especially something like self-belief, which can be so deeply rooted, it's not just a smooth upward curve, is it?
Not at all. There will absolutely be days you feel strong on top of it, and other days where you feel weak, like you're back at square one.
Yeah.
And that variation, that's normal.
That's important to hear, I think.
We really have to emphasize that. If you have an off day or even an off week, it doesn't mean you've failed at building confidence. Not at all. It just means you're human, and you need to gently recommit to the practice.
So the goal isn't perfection.
Definitely not. Confidence isn't about reaching some state of perpetual, flawless self-assurance. It's much more about believing that you can grow one step at a time. It's that growth mindset again, you see. It's not just about handling mistakes. It's also about having the sheer persistence to keep showing up even when it feels hard, especially when it feels hard.
It's that commitment to the process itself, regardless of how you feel in the moment or the immediate outcome. That's where the real strength gets built, maybe.
I think so. So if we pull back and look at the whole picture, we've defined confidence, right? Not as some fixed personality trait, but as the result, the accumulated evidence of your competence. supported by how you frame things internally, that positive self-talk,
Yeah.
and reinforced by your physical state, your body language.
Okay, so let's quickly recap those 5 key strategies. They really form a kind of cycle, don't they? A loop for building this skill.
They do. So, step 1.
Mm-hmm.
You start gathering the initial proof by choosing to start small. Little wins. Every day.
Right. Then, step 2, you protect that proof. You nurture it by learning to talk kindly to yourself, using that replacement language focused on growth, not judgment.
Then step 3, when you inevitably hit bumps in the road, you learn from mistakes. You reframe them as data, essential feedback for getting better, not as reasons to quit.
Got it. And step 4, we use our physiology, our body language, to actively manage our state, sending those internal signals of readiness, of safety, even when we don't feel it yet.
Exactly. And finally, step 5, the foundation holding it all together. Commit to never stop trying. Keep going. Except that progress isn't always linear and that persistence is key.
And we absolutely have to end with that really powerful statement from the source material. It sums it all up perfectly. Confidence is not a dream, it's a habit.
A habit. That really is the fundamental shift in thinking, isn't it?
It is.
If confidence is a habit like brushing your teeth, well, then it just requires practice.
Yeah.
Daily, repeatable practice.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about this week. A little challenge, maybe. Since we've laid out these 5 clear steps, fixing posture, replacing negative self-talk, forcing one small win each day, which one of those 5 feels like the easiest one for you to turn into a tiny daily habit?
Yeah, something that takes maybe less than 5 minutes.
Exactly, something super small, super manageable.
Pick that one thing, that one foundational habit, commit to it just for this week, every day, and start gathering that internal proof, that evidence.
Because that's how you begin to quiet the doubt. That's how you build that quiet, steady voice inside that says, yeah, I can do this. That's our deep dive for today. Go build that habit.
Go build it.
We'll catch you next time.